Hello, this is Joe Stokley of Stokley Properties, broker owner of Stokley Properties here in Walnut Creek, serving Walnut Creek and the greater Contra Costa area. We're with Mr. Nick Roscha again, attorney at law, specializing in real estate and business legal matters. Today's subject is, I wanted to ask Nick, a lot of our clients and new clients that come on board, one of their main questions they always ask is regarding security deposits and how the best way to handle them onboarding a property, but most importantly, when the people are moving out, how to avoid having legal problems when it comes to security deposits.
Joe, that's a great question. Thanks for having me again.
Thanks
Really
for being on too. Thank you.
Again, I am an attorney practicing law in California for my 20th year now, specializing in commercial and residential landlord-tenant work and litigation. Joe, the security deposit issue crops up both at the inception of the lease and also at the termination of the lease. And I think the owners need to be aware of the maximums they can charge for deposits on the front end of the lease. So you can charge no more than 2 months rent for a piece of property, for an unfurnished piece of property, as you know. Mm-hmm. If it's furnished, you can charge 3 times the amount of rent as a security deposit. That does not include a pet deposit. So if somebody has an animal in the property, you can charge more for that pet deposit as well, and that's part of the security deposit. Mm-hmm. So they should be aware of that going in. On the tail end of it, there are problems with treatment of the deposit when the tenant vacates the property or if you terminate the tenancy, as you well know. So if a tenant vacates, let's say on March 1 of 2017, you have 21 days after you get possession of the property back to give them back their full deposit or an allocation of what you have deducted from the deposit. And you should also know what those deductions can be made for. So Civil Code Section 1950.5 details exactly what you can deduct from a deposit. And what you cannot deduct from a deposit is anything that's not specifically identified.
What can't you deduct for, just in general? What, that's a no-no. You can't deduct that from the security deposit.
Well, I think it's easier to say what you can deduct because other than rent, repairs to the property, damages to the property, there's nothing else that you can take out of that deposit.
So you can't take out, if the person living there just chronic, always paying their rent late, and you have a $100 policy of receiving the rent late, a $100 penalty, you can't ask the judge to be reimbursed on whatever $500 worth of those fees?
If you have late fees, and that could be deemed additional rent under the lease, then you can probably recover the late fees. But try to keep it to rent and damages to the property. What you can't do is come back after the fact and claim rent after or damages after they've left the property. Mm-hmm. So it's just an issue where if you don't give it back to them within 21 days, then the tenant has the right to the entire deposit back, and if you don't give it to them, they can sue you for triple damages. So that 21-day time limit, you need to adhere to that.
Another thing real quick, I understand that in this state, you have to offer the tenant a pre-move out walkthrough, basically about 10 days, 2 weeks before they move out. If you don't, if you can offer it to them and they can not accept it, but if you don't offer it to them, they have the full right to 100% of their security deposit back because no one offered them a pre-move out walkthrough. Is that correct?
Mostly correct, Joe. If you do have to offer them the right to a pre-move out inspection of the property, and if you do the inspection, you can only deduct from the deposit those items you've informed them about are issues during the inspection. If they ask for the inspection and you don't give it, you can still deduct rent, for instance, if they haven't paid it. Mm-hmm. But any damage to the property that would have been divulged by that inspection, mm-hmm. you have to give it back to them.
Okay. Very interesting. Always fun, always exciting. Thanks, Nick, again for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Joe Stokley with Stokley Properties. Again, look forward to seeing you again. Take care. Bye-bye.